Thanks for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Wendy Griffith. Today, a death threat against a Supreme Court justice. A man admits he planned to murder Justice Brett Kavanaugh over his opinion on abortion. That follows a string of attacks on pro-life supporters and institutions, like the firebombing of a clinic in Buffalo.
It is unusable at present. At least 25% fire damage and 100% smoke damage throughout.
We'll look at what could happen if Roe v. Wade is overturned. As the Senate debates gun reform measures, horrifying testimony about what happened at the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas.
He shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and I put it all over me. And
what did you do then when you put the blood on yourself?
Just stayed quiet, and then I got my teacher's phone and called 911.
But can Congress come up with a measure both sides agree on? Are men who become transgender females a threat to biological women in their own sports? We'll hear from a former college swimmer who says transgender athletes do have a definite advantage. And you don't want to miss this. Imagine a state with a digital identity program that could track what you do. It could be on its way in Europe. Critics say it could lead to a dictatorship.
They control everything and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny.
And why some warn Christians could be targeted by such a system. Those stories and more today on CBN Newswatch.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Good morning. We begin with the Department of Justice charging a California man with the attempted murder of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. His action is the latest example of a wave of intimidation and violence targeting both conservative Supreme Court justices and pro-life organizations. And it comes right before a landmark Supreme Court ruling on abortion. Heather Sells has our story.
U.S. Marshals patrolled outside the home of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh on Wednesday after arresting and charging a California man with attempted murder. He allegedly said he was upset about the leaked Supreme Court opinion on abortion and the shooting in Uvalde.
We will not go back!
Since the leaked opinion, protesters have gathered regularly outside the homes of Kavanaugh and other conservative justices. On Tuesday, Homeland Security warned that the High Court's abortion case, along with immigration and the midterm elections, could trigger extremist violence. The president has condemned any threats, violence, or vandalism against the justices, but he has stayed silent on the hate crimes against the pro-life groups. Many remember the threat Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made to Kavanaugh at a rally 2 years ago.
You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
The justices aren't the only ones feeling the heat right now. Abortion terrorists have also targeted pro-life organizations across the country.
The latest target, a pro-life crisis pregnancy center in Buffalo, New York. It was firebombed in the middle of the night.
The building itself sustained heavy damage.
Reverend Jim Harden leads the center and says it will take months to repair.
It is unusable at present. At least 25% fire damage and 100% smoke damage throughout.
With signature graffiti on the side of his building, Harden suspects the abortion terrorist group Jane's Revenge. They could also be responsible for fire bombings at 2 other pro-life groups in Wisconsin and Oregon. In addition, a dozen or so crisis pregnancy centers are reporting vandalism and threatening messages. Sue Liebel leads pro-life strategy at the state level and says she expects the intimidation and the violence to continue.
When someone feels like they've lost something, they're more angry, they're more intense about that.
Liebel predicts that post-Roe, there will be heavy picketing and riots near state houses debating abortion. In this challenging climate, pro-life groups like Students for Life of America are hiring security guards and teaching volunteers at rallies how to stay safe.
A lot of times we instruct students just to remain silent, not to engage. If you are engaging, engage in a dialogue, in a one-on-one conversation, not shouting.
For now, Compass Care is serving women in an alternate location, and morale, he says, is high.
The church in particular in New York has rallied. There's been an outpouring of support. People wanting to volunteer, people wanting to give.
Most Supreme Court analysts expect a decision later this month or even in early July. For pro-life organizations, that means heightened security and vigilance as the country watches and waits. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Thanks, Heather. After the news broke about the attempt on Justice Kavanaugh's life, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said many had warned that dangerous rhetoric about abortion could incite such an attack.
This is exactly the kind of event that many worried the unhinged, reckless, apocalyptic rhetoric from prominent figures toward the court, going back many months, and especially in recent weeks, could make more likely.
McConnell called on House Democrats to pass a bill to pay for security for Supreme Court justices. The Senate passed it unanimously in early May, but House Democrats have not acted. Well, the House of Representatives passed a sweeping gun control bill Wednesday evening. It would raise the age limit for purchasing a semi-automatic rifle, but the bill passed has little chance in the Senate. The vote came after an emotional day of testimony from survivors of the mass shootings at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, and a grocery store in Buffalo. Abigail Robertson brings us the story from Capitol Hill.
Many of those personally affected by the recent tragedies called on Congress to take action. House Democrats hope that Wednesday's testimonies will lead their GOP colleagues towards supporting gun reform laws so that change can happen.
I left my daughter at that school, and that decision will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Kimberly Rubio, whose daughter Lexi died in the Robb Elementary School shooting, called on Congress to ban assault rifles, raise the purchase age to 21, and implement red flag laws.
Somewhere out there, there's a mom listening to our testimony, thinking I can't even imagine their pain, not knowing that our reality will one day be hers, unless we act now.
11-year-old Mia Cerrillo gave a first-hand account of what happened inside her classroom and how she managed to stay alive.
He shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and put it all over me. And
what did you do then when you put the blood on yourself?
Just stay quiet, and then I got my teacher's phone and called 911.
Not all victims at the hearing believe the answer is legislation.
10 more laws, 20 more laws, 1,000 more won't make what has already illegal more wrong or stop criminals from committing these crimes. And y'all are delusional if you think it's going to keep us safe.
Lucretia Hughes, who lost her son in 2019, argued that the gun control laws already in place do not work.
Gun owners are not the enemies, and these gun control policies are not the solution.
Republican Senator John Cornyn acknowledges some changes should be made and hopes to get a bipartisan bill passed in the Senate.
I think a focus on mental health and criminal background history is probably going to be the most productive.
Democrat Senator Chris Murphy, who's working with Cornyn, says the Senate needs to act now.
We are this week extending a hand of partnership to our Republican colleagues, but we are not going to settle for a piece of legislation that just checks a box.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer hopes to pass bipartisan gun reform legislation soon, but only if they believe what's included will have an impact and save lives. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abby. Coming up, it sounds like something out of a novel about the end times, a way for a government to track your movements through a digital identity system. But it's not science fiction. It's under consideration right now in the European Union, and it might even come to the U.S. We'll bring you the story right after this. Imagine a state where the government keeps tabs on everywhere you go, everything you say and everything you buy through a digital identity system. Sounds like communist China, right? Well, now the European Union may be headed in that same direction. And what's even worse, the idea is gaining support right here in the U.S., our own Congress. Dale Hurd has the story.
Is the European Union on its way to becoming a surveillance society like China?
The European Digital Identity.
This cheery introduction to the EU's upcoming digital identity program tells citizens that it will make their lives easier while keeping them safer online.
The European Digital Identity wallets will enable us to store and exchange documents and legal information while fully controlling which data we want to share with whom.
ID data sent.
EU President Ursula von der Leyen says digital identities will give citizens control over how their personal data is used and will help stop identity theft. The so-called digital wallet will be an app on a person's phone and will contain only the information a person wants it to include, such as medical or financial information.
Credit rating sent. Income statement sent.
It's already under attack in the European Parliament as something that would be ripe for government abuse. One of its chief critics, European Parliament member Christian Turres, was born in communist Romania and has long been warning of the EU's so-called Chinification.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe, because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end. Everything that they do, everything, everywhere where they walk, they control everything and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny.
The EU insists the digital identity program will be voluntary. Skeptics are wondering how long before it becomes mandatory.
How voluntary is the European Digital Identity Wallet? But even more important, how voluntary will it remain in the future? Because the European Union always comes up with nice plans to eventually abuse it, to create more control.
The EU's COVID passport was supposed to be temporary. Now Brussels wants to extend it until at least June of next year. COVID passports have been used to prevent the unvaccinated from crossing borders, entering grocery stores, using public transit, and even going to their jobs. It's helped fuel violent demonstrations, the likes of which Europe hasn't seen for decades. Some in Washington are urging Joe Biden to establish digital identities for Americans as a way of fighting identity theft. There's also support in Congress. The so-called Improving Digital Identity Act of 2020 never made it to a vote, but could be revived. We asked an expert on digital identities if they are indeed a necessary safeguard against identity theft. The Director of Engineering at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, Alexis Hancock, not only said no, but said digital IDs are more likely to encourage identity theft.
I think this actually increases the attack vector. This makes you a bigger target in my eyes, especially if in a government issue digital identity. When you have something on the internet for a long time, there's an increased potential of it being breached in some fashion because of this long-term storage. And when you're able to associate something like that with a particular person, you can pivot from that long-term identifier to other information about them and compromise, say, your bank accounts or compromise some sort of information about you.
Not only are digital IDs coming to Europe, but in Italy, the cities of Rome and Bologna have begun social credit programs that reward citizens for behavior that officials think will fight climate change, like using a bicycle instead of a car. A social credit system could be easily incorporated into a digital identity. Austrian Catholic leader Alexander Chukwuel says that in any European social credit system, Christians will lose because of their opposition to issues like abortion that the EU views as a human right.
Therefore, I do not want the European Union to have the possibility to look into everything I do, everything I say, everything I have, and how I move and where I am at any time. The systems are pushed by people who are highly anti-Christian.
Torres warns that the EU's new digital ID is the next step in a process in which the government in Brussels will micromanage every aspect of people's lives.
This is what makes the difference between a tyranny and democracy. When you know everything about what your government does, that's democracy. When the government knows everything about you, that is tyranny.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thanks, Dale. Still ahead, are men who become transgender females a threat to biological women in their own sports? Some say no, but one former college swimmer tells CBN transgender athletes do have a definite advantage. We'll hear what she has to say right after this. Leah Thomas, the first openly transgender athlete to win an NCAA Division I championship title, is speaking out about trans competitors in women's sports. During a recent interview with Good Morning America, Thomas said trans women are not a threat to women's sports. But appearing on this week's episode of The Global Lane, former collegiate swimmer and campus reform reporter Alexa Schwarma insists biological males have an advantage.
Hi, Alexa. So you were a member of which college swim team? What was your experience there? And did you compete against any biological men?
So I competed in a Division II collegiate swim team at Notre Dame College my freshman year. And luckily, I did not compete against any men. The competition was fair. I was able to compete against women, and that's how it should be.
Well, are there only a few trans athletes competing here and there? Just how widespread is this trend in collegiate sports?
You know, at the moment, it's still pretty low, only a few athletes here and there, but one is still too many because the bottom line is this. Women are getting hurt when men have to compete in women's sports. When men are allowed to compete, women have to make up for some biological advantage that they simply just can't make up. This is coming down to science and fact. So really, this conversation has to be returned to the root of the issue, which is protecting and demanding fairness in women's sports.
Well, I want to get to that again in a moment, but what is the prevailing attitude on America's college campuses? So what are the students that you've talked to saying?
So here at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we were able to go down to Georgia Tech the week of the NCAA Women's Swimming Championships, and campus was pretty divided. But the interesting thing to note is that the students that were standing up and saying that this is wrong, men should not be allowed to compete in women's sports, it was the student athletes that were saying that, the students who actually had a stake in the game. And that's because athletes know the hard work and the determination that goes into competing at such a high level. So while it is kind of divided among the student body, more and more students are speaking up and they're demanding action as well. And we're seeing this play out across the country as 18 states have responded to these constituent calls, and they're putting laws on the books that ban men from women's sports.
Alexa, why do you think it's divided on campus? You say there's a different view from the athletes and those who are not athletes, but why do you think it's divided?
Frankly, I think it's a shift in the culture, and I think it's a shift in the general worldview that is being perpetuated to students. And this is something that we see here time and time again at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform. We've been reporting on instances of leftist indoctrination and liberal bias for a decade, and we always say that what happens on a college campus becomes mainstream within society. So when you have these professors that are continuously spouting left-wing ideology in the classroom, these students are taking to that and believing this nonsense, but this has real-time consequences. Now, because this radical gender theory is so pervasive in our culture, we're seeing actual women be hurt and discriminated against. And if more people don't stand up and call this for what it is, which is nonsense, then we're going to witness the death of women's sports and the death of women's opportunities in general.
And as you mentioned earlier, science shows that biological males have a physical advantage over women with strength, endurance, speed, etc. So why aren't more female athletes speaking out against this unfair advantage? We're not hearing as much from them saying the trans men have an advantage in competing against them.
Frankly, women are afraid to speak up. You know, you come out and you say that you're against this, you're labeled as transphobe, you're labeled as all these negative things that, frankly, women don't want to be labeled as, but that's not the root of the issue here. More people need to see this for what it is, which is standing up for fact in truth, because facts can be very, very stubborn things. I realize that, but it can't come second place to reality, because when we ignore the science that tells us that there is a biological advantage between men and women, it's women who are being put on the line and actively discriminated against. This issue goes all the way down to chromosomes. It comes down to DNA. And no amount of hormone replacements or no amount of suppression is going to take away this advantage that makes men have a physical advantage. They're taller than women. They have a larger wingspan, a larger lung capacity, greater fast twitch muscles. And this gives them a significant athletic advantage. And in a sport like swimming, a difference between a win and a loss often comes down to 1/10 of a second.
And what do those students say to you when you point that out to them, those who support this? What do they say when you point out the science?
Well, a lot of them are enlightened, and that's the most uplifting thing, is that we need to have more of these conversations, pointing out the facts and getting away from such emotional arguments. This conversation has to be rooted in facts. It has to be rooted in science. And when you speak truth, people are willing to listen.
Okay, 18 states have now come out against this, passed legislation opposing trans athletes in women's sports. So we'll see what happens. Campus Reform reporter Alexa Schwera, thanks for setting us straight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Also on tonight's Global Lane program, a former prisoner of the Chinese Gulag discloses the truth about human rights violations inside the camps, and a look at his Second Amendment concerns over new gun restrictions being debated by the U.S. Congress. You can see these stories on the Global Lane tonight at 8:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel or on the CBN News app. Coming up, a 3-year-old boy recites 26 Bible verses from memory, one for every letter of the alphabet. We'll bring you a look right after this. One 3-year-old boy is showing others just how easy it is to recite Bible verses, especially when they coincide with your ABCs. The parents of Theodore Parker Bennett recently shared a video of him saying a verse for every letter of the alphabet. It shows him rattling off the verses from A to Z while wearing a tiny tuxedo. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Theodore Parker Bennett, and these are my Bible verses. Woohoo!
A.
Alphabet together you will find.
B.
Become one to another.
C.
Have people will hear us sing.
D.
Do not be anxious about anything.
E.
A congregation from above.
The video also shows him at age 2 trying to learn the verses. And you can read more about this, his story, and watch the video on CBNNews.com. How adorable is that? Well, that's it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel anytime or online with CBNNews.com. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day, everyone, and God bless you.